2024 was an awesome year with countless interviews from industry professionals that had an important message or product to share with our listeners. Let's take a look back at some of the best money-making minutes of 2024.
So as it relates to strategies that I take into account for myself and my own business, I try to use AI as a leverage to stay ahead of what's going on in the market. So as people are looking at what is coming up, for next week or next year, I'm actually looking at a 10-year plan of where things are going to be 10 years from now. Fortunately enough, we have AI to help out with that regard. So any proprietary software that you have that would maybe be able to help you with that is what I would try to go after. I would try to look at different market indicators from things that aren't currently visual to you right now, but what are going to be coming from 5 to 10 years from now. With that, you kind of want to have like an asymmetric approach to look at these things that are working, look at the A, the B's, the C's, have different plans of approach to it just in case something fails. And while you're doing that, it's very important to build a strong network because that network can be very indicative of your net worth. It can take you from where you are now to where you need to be. So those are all things that if you were to utilize that I feel as though would be very beneficial, not only for you, but for any CEO out there. You definitely have to have an outward lens and be able to discern the information that's coming before you.
My money-making minute would be it's really going to be two parts. One is going to be professional, one's going to be personal. One, professionally, understand your insurance. I know it doesn't sound very exciting, but the worst time to try to figure out what your insurance policy says is when you have a claim and if you find out that the claim's not covered. So whether you are a client of Real Protect or you have insurance through your current broker, really take a look at that insurance, understand what your policies say, understand what your exposure is from a deductible perspective, what your coverages do and don't, what your policy does and doesn't cover. And if you need assistance with that, go to a broker that you trust and has some expertise in the industry and can help you think about insurance in a way that becomes a part of your daily business. And insurance isn't just the product, it's also risk management, right? So what are the things that you can do to avoid claims? We have found that when there is good professional property management in place, that claims are significantly reduced. So whether you self-manage your properties or you have a third-party property management company, really focus in on those things that can help you avoid and reduce your risk. And if you have questions about that, I'm happy to sit down with you, talk about it, hop on a call to discuss, or visit our website at realprotect.com. The other thing I would say is personally, pay attention to your health. I had a significant health scare about a year ago, and I didn't listen to my doctors. And it could have been really, really a different situation, but it was something that was caught. So pay attention to what your body's telling you. Stay in shape, get some exercise, eat well, get good sleep. And those are the things I can really speak to from personal experience because I've lived it. So.
If you as an investor want to make more money, I could teach you a lot of advanced concepts and strategies, but here's what I want to give you in this little segment here is that if you feel like your head's not above water, like you can't even think about an advanced strategy right now, you're like, I am riding that cash flow roller coaster that you've been talking about. I do not know what I make, spend, and keep right now. I'm telling you, no advanced strategy is going to help you unless you get the foundation in order. So that's where I want to give you the actual steps of profit first, right here. I'm going to give you just like the first couple things. You could literally, right now, you can even pause this and go and do this first step because it is that simple. Profit first, the system, is built on the envelope method, meaning in your personal life, you set up like these envelopes and you stuff cash in for like rent, utilities, mortgage, like all the different areas. Well, in the business world, you just set up physical bank accounts and you name them. You name them because you're giving every dollar a name. Most people don't do that in the business world because number one, they haven't made that connection, or number two, they just have one big black hole account where all the money comes in, it goes out. Where the heck is it going? That's where you're up at night. You're like, why? Where did that money go? I just closed this big deal and my bank account's down to $10 again. It's like, if you're there, I don't want you to stay there. So what Profit First has you do, what I would have you do is open up some very simple business checking accounts. I would name them number one, income. So you can see what's coming in. This would be a separate account from your operational expenses or OPEX. You already have that. That's the big black hole account where everything goes out. But income would be where everything is coming in. Then I call the keep accounts, because the spend account's your OPEX. Income is what you're making. The keep accounts, or the golden trio of accounts, like I like to call it, because it's a golden trio. I like Harry Potter, Star Wars, look at me. So it's like they have the three main heroes, right? Luke, Han, Leia, making sure good wins in the end. You need to win. You need to win along the way so you can think about the bigger things. And then when your time is up to pass on to future generations, your properties, things like that, you need to make sure that it's profitable, that you're handing over something you're proud of. Those three accounts that I would recommend is profit, owner's compensation, and owner's tax. Those three help you keep more. If you just set up those physical bank accounts, those will help you be more proactive in being profitable. It will also help you focus on profitability, because I could teach you, like I said, those advanced strategies, but nothing matters if you don't have a good foundation. So if you want more info on that, like pick up the Profit First book or wherever, because then it goes deeper into it. But that's at least a foundation of what the system is. Setting up physical bank accounts for yourself that name all the dollars and help you have a system for what you make, spend, and keep. So ultimately, you keep more in your pocket and then can, incorporate the advanced strategies.
So as you know, we invest in multiple cities around the state, around the country. And so in order to do that, we need to make sure we vet our locations. And we do that by using an acronym I call CLEAN, that is crime, economics, education, location, affordability, and need. And so the first thing you want to look at is actually the third letter. It's the economics. Will this work? Do they have enough businesses? Is there enough opportunities for people to live and pay you rent or to buy a house, right? How's the crime rate? The crime rate really doesn't matter in the sense, is it good or bad? It matters only in the sense of what you are focusing on. If you're focusing on a Section 8 property, you may have a higher crime rate than somebody focusing on a penthouse in New York. The location, again, is very important. It's important that you understand where it is you want to buy your properties. If you want to buy high-end neighborhoods, that's what you're going to look at. If you're going to buy in the Section 8, you're going to look for those areas. Wherever you choose to go, you need to make sure you have someone in the area who understands the laws, rules, and regulations, the weather, the conditions that housing works in that area. For example, if you go to Houston, they have this thing called mud and PUD. You're going to be paying for the rest of your life a fee that if you come from New York, I promise you don't even know what it's for. And it's the infrastructure that's underneath their property, right? If you go to Florida, you want to cage up your air conditioning units as soon as you can because somebody's going to steal it. You don't have those problems if you live in New York. But if you don't have someone in the area, you may not do the right thing because you don't understand the location. And then is it affordable for people? And affordable, again, it depends. Are you looking at Section 8? That's a different affordability than a penthouse. And is there a need in the neighborhood? You don't want to buy retail rentals in a neighborhood where people live there all the time. Not live there, but are homeowners that actually live in the area and own their homes. You're not going to find that many people to rent in that kind of area. On the other hand, you don't want a neighborhood that's going to be 100% rentals where you're going to rehab it to sell it to a homeowner. So you need to understand what the need is, and is there a need in that area for that type of housing that you're going to do. So if you find the clean method to work, it actually does if you follow it step by step and you understand all of the pieces really well.
Okay, so my advice for the money making minute is 1031 exchanges. 1031 exchanges will absolutely maximize your investment, allow your money to go farther. It is tax deferment, it is not tax exemption, but it allows you to roll in the net sale proceeds into multiple investments, up to 3, and defer your capital gains tax. So by utilizing this option, you can maximize the total dollar amount and the full net proceeds into multiple investments, and you can do it infinitely over time, as many times as you want. And the beauty of it is when you do finally cash out, let's say it's 10 or 20 years later, more than likely your tax bracket is going to be lower, because if you're investing a lot in your 30s and your 40s, and then you're going to cash out of your investments in your 60s, your tax bracket comes down and you actually pay less capital gains tax to Uncle Sam, and you can let your dollar go farther.
Great question, and I love this. So for me, I actually want to focus on routine. Most people think marketing, technology, it's always an app, whatever, but it's actually, for me, it's routine. I think that the whole early morning is a bunch of BS, right? I think you need to find what works for you and your business and in the way that you operate. So for me, for example, my alarm is set at 8 a.m. I usually wake up between 7:30 and 8 most days, and that's what works for me. I find that even if I got 12 hours of sleep, but I had to get up at 6 a.m., my day is shot. And so I think there's too much focus on this, like, hustle, grind, get up early, work late. Like, understand that that pace can work for a short period of time, but not a long period of time. Focus on a routine that's going to help you feel the best by yourself, because you'll be far more productive in the hours that you do work when you do.
It might seem a little bit of a generic answer when I say this, because I don't have an app or statistics or a person you should follow. What I would say has allowed me to be successful, and what I would attribute it mostly to, is admitting what I don't know. And that was a big struggle for me for a number of years. I was VP of Investor Relations for Pinnacle Storage Properties, and I, as the VP of Investor Relations, I felt like I had to know everything. And my boss, John Manus, very astutely said, tell people what you know, but more importantly, tell them what you don't know, because you're going to build credibility with people when you tell them what you don't know. Bank that so you have it in your memory bank for the future. That's how you gain knowledge. That's how you share knowledge. But admit what you don't know. That gets you credibility. That gets you like, trust, and respect, and that's going to gain you business. That's going to gain you partners time and time again. Just be honest with people.
All right, so it's you're going to have to stay with me for a second. I'm going to go a little long. I'm going to shout out to my father-in-law, Cosmo Magarelli. He taught me, alternate streams of income and pay yourself like a bill, and those are adaptable to investment strategies as well. And I'll take that pivot, and it'll be a reach to get there in a second, but don't have analysis paralysis either. So dive in, look at your data, and at some point though, you just have to jump off and do it. But be aware of the fact that you have to have alternate streams of income. You have to be ready for anything. So be good at what you focus on what you're good at, but be prepared to shift and pivot, because no matter how great the analysis is, something may still go wrong. I often talk about COVID, and maybe the Hilton COO was doing projections for 2020. Well, his projections were off, right? So no one saw COVID coming. And so be as prepared as you could possibly be, do all your homework, know your numbers, but at some point then, dive in and be prepared as you can be to adapt if your analysis doesn't prove to be correct. But again, investment strategies that I learned were alternate streams of income, which I then took into my own business, which I adapted to diversification. Paying yourself like a bill is also betting on yourself. So at the end of the day, make sure that at some point you have the confidence to always bet on yourself. And I think those are things that served me well in my career.
So I think the biggest thing is to be flexible. You need to be able to adapt to the ebbs and flows of the market. We've seen such shifts in the investment market over the years, and just in real estate in general. So keep your eye on the prize. You got to stay focused and keep grinding. I think there's a lot of folks that haven't been able to cut the mustard in this industry, so you have to have what it takes and stay focused.
Thank you for listening to Uncontested Investing. Questions about today's episode or the podcast? Email podcast@rcncapital.com and make sure to follow REI Inc. magazine on LinkedIn and Facebook and RCN Capital on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. See you all next time.